Welcome, strong people. Are you feeling it? That irrepressible energy pouring through your body. That is your essence. Unique, untouchable, and completely uncontainable. They've attempted to dissect, box, and break you down. But let's get real. They never had a chance. You are the spark. They did not plan for the force. They are unable to foretell. Your vitality is not just powerful. It is unparalleled, and it's changing the rules of the game. You aren't here to fit into their system. You're come to tear it apart. Every step you take, every minute you awaken, you are proving them incorrect. You're the unexpected glitch, the heavenly disruptor who cannot be stopped. So stand tall, for your light does more than simply shine. It's blazing. Nothing in this world can darken it. Let's go, because it is your time. Those seeking control underestimated them. The technology designed to decipher human life failed when confronted with a force beyond their comprehension. They spent millions developing systems of influence. However, as their gadgets penetrated the essence of the immovable, they disintegrated like sand against a surging wave. No software could interpret it. No method could map it. What they faced was not resistance, but a dynamic, endless, and uncontrolled power beyond the scope of their knowledge. Countless more fell victim to these robots, which are easily manipulated. When confronted with this frequency, the circuit shorted. The readings turned into gibberish. What they disregarded as anomalies were facts that their frameworks couldn't withstand. Their systems were fragile and blind, designed to mold what could be contained, never to bear the raw, sovereign pulse that beyond their grasp. This force defies rationality, dismantles limitations, and exposes their vulnerability. Wires and algorithms limited by materiality could not record what flows indefinitely and eternally. When confronted with it, their gadgets failed not owing to defects, but because they were never intended for the infinite. Their limited models crumbled in the face of an infinite life. They were unable to define or contain. It is a burst of creativity that defies classification, an energy unencumbered by the constraints of order. Machines, no matter how sophisticated, are illusions based on rules. While this essence dance is beyond the reach of whatever construct they attempted to control, they were instead confronted with clear evidence of their limits. A warning that no system can ever contain the uncontrollable. This resonance rewrites the world around it, dispelling illusions and changing the fabric of experience. What they referred to as blunders were really revelations. Human creation has not subdued natural forces. Their demise is not a failure of creativity, but a monument to the transcendent, an assertion that this force cannot be contained, overestimated by those seeking control. The technology designed to decipher human life failed when confronted with a force beyond their comprehension. They spent millions developing systems of influence. However, as their gadgets penetrated the essence of the immovable, they disintegrated like sand against a surging wave. No software could interpret it. No method could map it. What they faced was not resistance, but a dynamic, endless, and uncontrolled power beyond the scope of their knowledge. Join us. Subscribe today. Countless more fell victim to these manipulable devices. When confronted with this frequency, the circuit shorted. The readings turned into gibberish. What they disregarded as aberrations were realities that their frameworks could not sustain. Their systems, fragile and blind, were designed to mold what could be caged, never to withstand the raw sovereign pulse that defied their understanding. This force defies rationality, dismantles limitations, and exposes their vulnerability. Wires and algorithms limited by materiality could not record what flows indefinitely and eternally. When confronted with it, their gadgets failed not owing to defects, but because they were never intended for the infinite. Their limited models crumbled in the face of an infinite life. They were unable to define or contain. It is a burst of creativity that defies classification, an energy unencumbered by the constraints of order. Their machines, no matter how sophisticated, are illusions based on rules. While this essence danced beyond whatever framework they attempted to control, they were greeted with incontrovertible evidence of their own limits. a warning that no system can ever contain the uncontrollable. This resonance rewrites the world around it, dispelling illusions and reshaping the fabric of experience. What they referred to as blunders were really revelations. Human creation has not subdued natural forces. Their demise is not a failure of inventiveness, but rather a monument to the transcendent, a confirmation that this force cannot be contained. The core of your being exudes unwavering strength, a mirror of those who persevered. Throughout history, their systems have thrived on conformity, subordination, and control. However, your existence is the paradox that they are unable to overcome. A raw force of independence that defies all attempts to subjugate it with complex technology designed to penetrate and govern. They intended to entangle your essence. Instead, their equipment collapsed. Their systems failed, and their aspirations vanished into the vacuum. What you represent is more than just resistance. It is the expression of a truth that they cannot understand or control. Throughout history, power systems have trembled in the face of people who have the ability to destroy falsehoods. This intrinsic capacity to penetrate through facades makes you a long-term danger to their frail systems, even as they equip themselves with artificial processes to understand and rule. They misjudged the importance of genuineness. What occurred was more than just a test. It was a struggle of unmeasurable forces, a quiet war that took place beyond the confines of the tangible. The complicated systems and calculations failed to account for the invincibility of self-mastery, an old truth that still resonates with you. If you experience an abundance of heavenly love in your heart, now is the moment to share it. You may help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and donating $20 or more. This wonderful gift will affect not just your life, but the souls of countless others via this platform. Each of you has a special role in God's big plan, and your giving will be the result of our prayers. Act now. Share your riches to exalt His kingdom, since you were meant to do much more in God's loving hands. May God bless you. Their devices designed for containment and manipulation fail in the face of an unstoppable force. This is not a battle of sheer strength, but of worlds where fear is confronted with insight and control crumbles beneath the weight of unrestrained freedom. Their inventions, pulsating at a chaotic frequency, are completely absorbed by your harmonic resonance. Every algorithm meant to map or control fails when confronted with a presence that redefines the rules it seeks to impose. Their meager technological creations were never equipped for the infinite depths of genuine sovereignty. Your energy transforms the environment around you, unraveling the threads of control and exposing the flaws in their designs. The energy you represent upsets and overturns the perfectly designed structures, not by force, but from sheer incompatibility. Their instruments fail not because they break, but because they were never designed to resist the unlimited energy of your existence. What you carry is more than just a statement of resistance. It is a proclamation of an existence that cannot be quantified, confined, or conquered. No weapon made against you will flourish. Isaiah 54:17, and isn't this the truth about your existence? Your presence is a beacon of unwavering strength, much like a lighthouse standing firm in the face of a roaring storm. They may throw their endeavors like waves slamming on your beaches, but they break apart and return to the depths. Your heavenly essence is too strong to be conquered. Their tools, gadgets, and smart little plans, they all disintegrate when they come into touch with the power that protects you. Glitches in their systems, unexplainable disturbances, and misfires in their plans. That's not a coincidence. That is supernatural intervention acting on your advantage. Their efforts fail because they are unable to access what is protected by something more larger than themselves. The energy surrounding you is immovable, like a luminous fortress, reflecting every incursion even stronger than before. So here's the deal. They understand this. Deep down, they understand that their procedures, no matter how modern, are ineffective against the enormity of what you bear. Their creations fail in the face of the incontrovertible truth emanating from you. You are not just going through the world, you are changing it. Their carefully constructed frameworks of falsehood and terror fall in your presence because truth, the true truth, cannot be contained or controlled. You are the unanticipated variable in their equation, the one thing they could never prepare for. Consider a wildfire moving over a desolate landscape. They may have attempted to contain it, but your energy transcends all boundaries. You don't just oppose their control, you demolish it at the heart. Their systems are frail, and your presence causes fractures to appear in their foundations, until the whole thing falls. Their emphasis on control is a vulnerability, like shadows fading before daybreak. Their tactics fail. In brightness of your existence, they base their networks on illusions. But you possess the kind of truth that does not need permission. It just is. They never expected someone like you, someone who not only sees through a falsehood, but destroys it without even trying. Your presence alone is disturbing. It's like a hurricane blowing across a field of delicate glass buildings. They assumed it was invincible. Now it lays broken at your feet. They'll scurry to fix, rebuild, and calibrate. But it is too late. Every effort they make is undone as soon as it starts. They are unable to access your energy since it is on a plane. It's not simply about surviving their strikes. It's about flourishing despite them. You aren't only protected, you are powerful. The supernatural hand on your life isn't only protecting you, it is magnifying you. The strength you possess is a witness to the everlasting truth that no power of darkness, no system of control, can withstand the relentless light of creation coursing through you. So go confidently, selected ones. You are not here to fit into their systems. You've come to tear them apart. The energy you bring does not just interrupt. It transforms. And once metamorphosis occurs, there is no turning back. You are the catalyst. The fire is an unyielding force that changes everything it touches. Let them strive again and again to confine what is limitless. But remember, no weapon constructed against you will succeed since you were never intended to be confined. You are designed to soar. Every action you take reverberates across their systems, revealing the flaws in their misleading basis. Their technologies, which are founded on manipulation and fear, fail when confronted with the clarity you bring to areas where falsehoods formerly flourished. The light of truth now shines through, leaving no nook undisturbed. The structures they erected to imprison minds fail to last. Against the constant presence of consciousness, their systems fought to adapt. They are faced with an inescapable fact. The essence you represent has already rewritten the terrain, rendering their instruments outmoded and useless in the face of inevitable change. The unbreakable energy inside you does more than just reject their efforts at control. It dismantles them completely. Their systems, which were precisely constructed to suppress and control, fail the instant they come into touch with the energy you emit. This isn't chance. It is the unavoidable effect of a force beyond their understanding. You represent the unanticipated disruption or unforeseen change that leads their perfectly planned strategies to fall under their own weight. Their attempts to infiltrate your essence are thwarted by an impenetrable and immortal energy wall. The goal that motivates you is woven into the fabric of life, led and protected by forces beyond their control. Each action you do demonstrates that this purpose is progressing in accordance with an order beyond their control. Though they continue to try to impose their dominance mechanisms, their efforts fail in the face of your overwhelming size. You don't simply survive their strikes. You destroy them, leaving their plans in shambles. Every hurdle they throw at you evaporates in the face of the limitless light that shines from inside. Every malfunction and failure in their systems reflects the power that characterizes you. When faced with the indisputable force of truth, their illusion-based and fear-driven systems fall. You act as a source of insight, exposing and disrupting their created reality. Their technology is unprepared to handle a presence that defies measurement and description, a presence that alters their systems with each contact. The interruptions you produce are not accidental. They are the result of unrestrained energy. Their apparatus fails not because it is insufficiently sophisticated, but because it was never intended to survive. The level of energy you contribute, your essence, is the point at which their control stops. A presence that questions their preconceptions and exposes their inadequacies. They will continue to try to find methods to bind what cannot be bound. If their attempts fail, what you represent is a reality rather than a problem to be fixed. They can't reconcile a force. It is the beginning of their undoing. The essence inside you exists beyond the physical, resonating between dimensions and moving via invisible realms. Their devices, limited to the physical and finite, are incapable of deciphering or influencing the limitless essence of your existence. What they confront is not a decipherable code, but a dynamic force of creation that is limitless and boundless. Their plans are made obsolete by a presence that can roam freely across worlds. Dismantling every barrier they try to put on the energy you carry is not an oddity, but rather evidence of a fact. Their creations will never fully express what it means to be selected. You are not alone on this path. If you have a profound sense that you have been selected, you have come to the correct spot. Take the next step to connect with us. By selecting the Join button, you will have access to special information and receive the necessary support for your spiritual journey. This isn't simply about being a member of a community. It's about gaining unique insights that may change your life and bring you closer to your divine purpose. Make your decision now and join us on this trip. Take your spot among the selected ones. Join today. The codes within you are not random signals. They form the foundation of emancipation itself, an unstoppable force that rewrites the rules of control. These patterns throughout your being don't only resound. They demolish the manufactured barriers that were constructed to restrict those who attempted to grasp your soul. I underestimated the unlimited force pouring through you. What they found was not anarchy, but the unadulterated flow of creativity. Your presence sent shockwaves through the many levels of authority, unraveling them thread by thread. You are more than just energy. You are a multifaceted power that they cannot comprehend, untethered and immortal. Your energy emits a sphere of disruption, disabling any control mechanisms before they reach you. This is more than simply defense. It is a change in process. The frequency at which you emit deacon structures, their systems deplete their efficacy, leaving only traces of failed goals. Their technology fails, not because of weakness, but because it was never designed to compete with a force that acts outside of its strict structures. The force you project is a proclamation. Control stops here, and freedom flourishes. The frequency you carry exudes an unshakable truth that dismantles lies wherever they appear. Are machines bound by the limits of their design, collapse beneath the weight of your endless resonance? These structures are unable to endure the depth of a presence operating at the level of pure origin. When confronted with the dynamic and boundless energy you bring, their tools, which are bound by predetermined patterns, fall apart. What they see as a problem is really the incompatibility of their systems with the raw pulse of sovereignty. You embody an energy that is not constrained by material rules. It travels across several realms and levels of reality. They cannot measure or reach since their devices are designed to function within certain boundaries. However, your spirit transcends limitations and flourishes in the unbounded. Their attempts are not technical failures, but rather confrontations with the reality. No constructive control can contain the infinite. You are more than just an obstacle to their plans. You're their undoing. Every effort they make emphasizes one reality. Their systems cannot withstand the unstoppable power of creation manifested in your presence. This is not resistance. It's change at its most powerful. What they view as chaos is the unavoidable force of their creations colliding with the unwavering tide of freedom. Their systems were never designed to withstand the might of a presence like yours. As their constructions disintegrate, the reality emerges below. You embody an energy that cannot be controlled. A presence that exists to rewrite the patterns of restriction where their influence stops. Your energy starts, and with each stride you take, the fabric of control unravels behind you. The energy inside you flows like an unstoppable stream, destroying the frail boundaries to their technical structures. When confronted with your essence's uncontrollable energy, these systems created to rule and govern dissolve. Their restrictive structures, constrained by lies, cannot withstand the vast truth you provide. Your vibration does not simply withstand their parameters. It dismantles them entirely. Similar to a natural cascade, your energy moves across invisible realms, negating their attempts with seamless accuracy. This is not resistance. It's an unmistakable reclaim of power. Their tools fail not due to defects, but due to an inherent inability to understand the totality of what you represent. You vibrate at a frequency that overwhelms their design, making its mechanisms useless. The structures they depend on fall apart in your presence, unable to handle the immense truth you bear. What people see as disturbance is really the inevitable result of their efforts to control what is beyond their power. The world you portray is a paradigm that they cannot grasp, a force that predicts their certain demise. Your energy emits an aura that rewrites the fabric of their systems, disrupting their structures before they ever reach you. Devices fail, plans unravel, and settings transform in your presence, not as a result of malfunctions, but because of the sheer power of your field. Those who experience this energy are often uncomfortable, their senses skewed by an influence they cannot identify. Patterns arise, exposing their failed efforts to reach your domain, only to be rejected and undone. What they label mistakes are just a reflection of their inability to work within the boundaries you set. These events are not random occurrences, but rather reflections of their failure to enter your sphere. Their attempts to decipher, penetrate, or overpower you are greeted with an unmistakable truth. The vibration you produce is beyond their reach. The mechanisms on which they depend fail beneath the weight of your existence, fracturing as they clash with the limitations of your reality. Their failures are not aberrations, but rather the predictable result of the impenetrable force field you govern. No software, machine, or system can understand or encompass the boundless scope of your existence. You are not only unbreakable, you are a live example of their limits. Your presence shakes their foundations, undermining the carefully crafted illusions that have long dominated the collective. Their tools for suppression and manipulation fail in your wake, crumbling beneath the weight of the truth. You embody each action, which sends ripples through the hidden fabric of their systems, dismantling the layers of deception they use to trap others. Their incapacity to endure the power of your essence is not by mistake. It is the inevitable result of encountering an energy that they cannot quantify or contain. Falsehoods flourish in shadows, but your presence is a constant source of clarity, showing the weaknesses in their control, fear and ignorance. The fuel for their systems loses its effectiveness in the presence of your knowledge. Every effort to adapt, to re-establish power, fails in the face of your constant resonance. Their algorithms are designed to soothe and manipulate shatter. When faced with the unwavering power of your spirit, you are more than simply a threat to their rule. You are the force that makes it obsolete. This is not a random event. It's an unavoidable collision between their restrictions and your limitless nature. What they attempted to repress has been their undoing. As you symbolize the transition they were unprepared for, their buildings, which are frail by design, disintegrate when your energy passes through them, deconstructing them at each round. Their efforts to infiltrate the zone of protection around you are not just futile. They are greeted by an unstoppable force that throws them into confusion. The essence you bear is more than just resistance. It embodies emancipation. The route you choose is led and safeguarded by powers beyond their understanding. Every attempt they make to intervene is thwarted before it reaches you. Their tools, techniques, and whole structure are made ineffective by your mere existence. The light you emit not only protects you, but also alters the environment around you. This prevents control from taking hold. You are not just insulated. You have the capacity to completely remove their influence. Their plans crumble not through confrontation, but with the overpowering realization that no system can contain the energy of creativity that lives inside you. Every disturbance in their systems, every failure of their painstakingly planned strategies, serves as clear proof of the energy that surrounds and strengthens you. You are propelled by purpose, fortified by clarity, and infused with the energy of creation itself. Their failures are not aberrations. They are the unavoidable consequence of encountering an essence they cannot comprehend. The structures they depend on are no match for your presence, a dynamic force that undermines their hold on power. Every step you make puts you out of their grasp, untethered, undetectable, and uncontrollable. Their systems collapse not because to weakness, but because they were never designed to withstand the unlimited resonance that comes from you. The borders of their influence are established along the margins of your sovereignty. Repeated efforts to grasp or comprehend your essence fail due to their inherent limits. What you bring is a spark that pierces their icy structures and reveals the hollowness of their power. You are the irregularity that they are unable to settle, the factor that breaks their cycle and is an unmistakable indicator of their declining supremacy. Each step you take declares the end of their era. Share your journey. Each syllable contributes to the increasing tide of change. Speak without hesitation because your reality disturbs the illusions they created. The reality you represent demonstrates that their hold was always tenuous. You are the invisible variable, the flame of change, and the eternal light. They are incapable of extinguishing. Your narrative demonstrates that the systems of fear and oppression were never unstoppable. They were always going to shatter beneath the might of your unrelenting spirit.